What's up, world? Isaiah here from Making It Make Sense with Isaiah, Jasper, and Theo. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify with new episodes every Friday. We also want to hear from you between episodes, so follow our Instagram at Making It Make Sense IJT or email us at makingitmakesense@gmail.com. Now listen up and let's make all the sense.
Hi, everyone. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. 1, it's free. 2, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. 3, Anchor will distribute your podcast so that everyone can hear it, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It is everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
So guys, the topic we're going to chat about today is stereotypes and labels in the gay community. And that can extend to the LGBTQ plus community as well. But yeah, we have some thoughts about that. What are your thoughts, guys?
Indeed. Well, I think a lot of these labels are just very a lot of these labels and the requirements and the expectations are very, very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I think about this is because I saw an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the character Pandora Box discussing their life and how they're not feeling all that great about their body today because for a very long time they existed in the label of twink.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart went out to this person because I was like, damn. And when we say a twink is like if I'm not mistaken, is like a very thin, feminine gay guy.
Like almost boyish, right? Like
Okay,
in a sense.
that. And I just think these terms and these labels are very detrimental and harmful, especially for people of color, because the only thing in gay culture that was created by Black people or people of color was the gay revolution and gay civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
That was started by a trans woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of gay culture wasn't created with people of color in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these terms and a lot of these lifestyles, hopefully I don't offend anyone, it wasn't really created for people of color in mind. So it isn't beneficial for us in the long term. I don't know what you guys think.
I think to me, like with the you brought up the Pandora box. Her issue with being a twink or being labeled a twink earlier when she was younger and started out in her career. When I saw her say that, I wasn't sad because I didn't get like to me it didn't come across as like a traumatic thing for her or something that was like to me from how she said it and how she was when she talked about it, it's like a traumatic or like a harmful thing for her. I got like she didn't like it, and she kind of made light of it. So I didn't I wasn't like affected by her feeling away by being able to twin because I took it more as a comedic. Like she said, now she's older and she's more developed as a man and as a human being. So she's not the twink size anymore. She's aged. She's always said that there's ageism in her career, and So I just feel like I didn't get that that sense of like feeling like an emotional or feeling sad for her or anything like that. But I do think that like labels because it does help indicate what groups are out there, so people can find where they belong and find where they connect with. Because I think without labels or some type of identification, people will be lost, especially in this community, because people will be confused as to where they belong or where they connect with or what area or what place they fit. Because the LGBTQYZWX is a wide range. It's a huge area, huge community. So
Wait, did you just make that up? YWX?
yeah, I
I
added on it,
literally was
honey.
like, I was like, wait a minute, which letters is that?
Yes, I added on it, honey. It's a lot, honey. Got all these
I was
different
like, which
new
letters is that?
sexes and different. It's
Mhm.
new stuff coming out every day.
Mhm,
New
mhm,
so I think labels are needed, and but I can see how they could be problematic at the same time. But I can see why they'd be needed and why it's helpful in a way.
mhm.
So
How about you, Isaiah?
I really feel like now, and maybe this just kind of goes in line with I never felt like I set in any one of those specific categories. Um, I mean, in my coming out experience and my queer experience, and I never really felt like I set in any one particular um space. Uh, so I don't really identify, with any of those. Whether that be twink or bear or God, what else is that's out
Or
there?
otter or rabbit
Otter. I
or
mean,
whatever the
Butch,
other terms are.
yes,
Butch, right?
yes,
Definitely not Butch. I unfortunately,
or
I
sis, sis,
sis,
yes.
I've never really identified with any of those, just because I think maybe I felt like, okay, well, I would like to just connect with and be in proximity with all of my queer family. You know what I mean? Like I never felt like, okay, well, I can't sit in this space because I don't look. But also, I kind of connecting with, and I think Theo said, oh, sorry, I think Theo said something similar to this earlier. I don't think that these labels were really created with men of color in mind, you know. So and maybe that has a bit to do with it. Whenever I've gone, oh, okay, well, those are definitely twinks. I never really seen. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm sure there are other people that maybe they felt like they've identified in those spaces. Now, some of that is also perception, or actually I feel like largely some of that or largely a lot of that is perception, because that's a lot of those things are appearance based.
Mm.
So someone might look at me like I'm 5'6", and I'm, I mean, I'm not as slender as I used to be, but like I guess by all standards of, most of the men that I know are taller than me. Um,
You're a little person.
I'm a little, I'm a bit of a little person, so like 5'6" is short for a guy. And so I feel like if someone saw me, they might go, "Oh, okay, maybe he's a twink or something like that." And I'm also not a very hairy person, so so I'm not a bear. But then my husband, on the other hand, I mean, he's like, I guess he would be considered like an otter, right? Or something. I've never and now that this comes to mind, I've never categorized us. But I feel like that's another thing. I feel like he's more, uh, he's, I feel like the ability to categorize him is more so there than me. As a
Yeah.
black man, I do. I mean, I don't know if I've like, anyone for the listeners. So my marriage is interracial. My husband is white. Well, actually, he is Jewish and Irish, but like, and I'm black. Um, so we've had those discussions. We're like, oh, what would you be, or what would you be? But I kind of agree with you both in the sense of I think labels can be harmful, but I also think that they can establish a sense of community depending on what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's kind of like subsets, I guess, within a larger community.
Yeah.
Um, however, so maybe more niche. But I I've never felt like I fit in any of those spaces except for one, and that one is black, gay, black, queer,
Yeah.
and black, right? So because I've always felt like that's the only space that once I realized I am queer, that was the space that I felt like, okay, this is the space I identify with. But also I like, and going back to um, something we've discussed before, being in predominantly white spaces, most of my most of my gay male friends have been white men. And so I feel like it's more definable, for them to go, okay, well, they sit in this one, and okay, you're in this space, and okay, well, you're this type of gay man, and me, I was just kind of, I was the
Isaiah.
token queer guy, queer black man,
You were just Isaiah.
just Isaiah, so that, I mean, I guess that's where, I come from kind of about that. So I don't identify necessarily with those.
I don't identify with any of those things.
Mhm.
I sometimes the way I view things also is how is it benefiting blackness,
Mhm.
and how is it taken away from blackness? Yeah,
Oh Lord.
yeah, I do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh
And
Lord.
unfortunately, I find a lot of gay culture benefits white culture and whiteness more than it does blackness.
Mhm.
Oh.
No, Jasper did not just huff and puff.
Oh, I
I
didn't
Uh,
know.
uh,
I didn't know. I was like, Jasper Huff.
I hope this Negro loses his voice for a whole month.
Stop it. Listen,
I
let Black
curse
Jesus
you.
bless his voice for
I
us.
curse your vocal cords in the name of Black
In
Jesus.
the name of Black Jesus.
Come on, brother Theo. Come on with the sermon.
Huh? No, but no, I just see a lot of culture does not include our blackness into it.
Mhm.
And even on television, like, I don't recall ever seeing a prominent black gay character that wasn't feminine and flamboyant or wanted to dress in women or wanted to dress in women's clothing and things like that.
Mhm.
And whiteness has had control of the gay narrative for a very long time.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of these labels also stem from whiteness. They don't come necessarily from the black culture, the black community, the
Mhm.
black queer experience.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
don't,
agree.
I don't
I
see that.
disagree.
I don't think they had us in mind when they were creating these terms. We just fit in where we can get in.
Mhm.
You don't, and
Yeah,
that's what I
definitely.
see it as, and that can be very detrimental when something that wasn't created for me,
Mhm.
and I try to fit into this cookie cutter idea or this label. It
Mhm.
could be detrimental to me.
Mhm.
I slightly disagree because a lot of the labels, especially in the black community, came from the ballroom scene, which was a predominantly black, it's a predominantly black mecca, and it's a diverse mecca. It's very diverse, but predominantly black. And I feel like a lot of the labels that we know came from the ballroom scene, so I don't agree
Who,
with
the bear? No, the that
it. Yeah.
no, like bear that came from some white man. Twink came from England, which was twank before.
Mhm.
Otter. I don't think these. More of a. I think the lexicon of gay culture came from the ballroom scene, came from
Mhm.
black gay people, and again, I
Agree.
think gay civil rights is came from a trans black woman
Mhm.
and a brown woman. So, the important part of gayness that benefit us, I think, is rooted in blackness. But a lot of this culture of twink and this all these labels that people are not that people have not chosen sometimes to assign themselves. like like these muscle guys. There's a term for muscle guys, and
Oh
these
yeah, like what is? It's not bros, no.
no, it's not bros.
No, oh, and not like, but like, God, I,
Definitely not bros.
yeah. Um,
Like Ebony was like they I don't call it Ebony or something like that.
So
Ebony or
mhm,
yeah, but these guys, and they live up to those images. They sometimes, in order to live up to this label that was assigned to them, or that they feel that they must be a part of, they're taking steroids, they're harming their bodies, they're
mhm,
because when they go out to the club, everybody's touching their muscles and saying how great they look,
mhm,
and they sometimes are in this spiral based on these labels. And that's why I love this new generation, or these new folks who are coming up, who are gender non-conforming, who are non-binary,
mhm.
who are saying, I am not going to be labeled by your distorted, harmful labels.
Like,
I'm choosing to label myself nothing, or I'm choosing to label myself zero. And I think that I love those young people who are coming up saying, no, I'm not going to be labeled boy or girl.
oh yeah, these Gen Zers are not.
There's
They're
something
coming for our
else.
necks. They're coming for our necks.
And once again, if I decide my label, I'm not going to put because all of a sudden, when you're black and you're gay and you're from New York, everybody assumes, oh, you're from the ballroom scene.
Yeah.
but that's where the
If you
ballroom scene originated from. So you can't they can't help that all that they with their knowledge is the ballroom scene in New York are together. So it's not their fault that that's what the knowledge they have. So I feel like like you said, twinks and some other terminologies were given by white people, but a lot of the ones that I know, the
Mhm.
urban ones, are from black people in the ballroom scene.
and I love
Mhm.
it.
So it's not all white.
So
So
I agree. I agree with, and I see where you're what you're saying, Jasper, in relation to because a lot of the because the culture came from that scene, right? But then the turnover of that turned into, okay, let's go and throw some blonde hair on it and call it something totally different,
Yeah.
right?
what they call it? What do they call it now? I don't understand it. Explain that to
What
me.
I mean by that is, so a lot of our even colloquialisms, things that we say, like, or not that we say that came from, I mean, let's came from black women and black trans women, or uh, black queer gay men and women. Um, Again, they threw some blonde hair on it, and then you have a bunch of them walking around using terms
Like
and
shade, or
behaving stuff like that,
yes.
right? That came from right. So that's where it's kind of like, wait a second.
But that's
But then
double
if
edged
you
sword.
notice, sorry, then if you notice, guess who was real quiet, or who is real quiet when trans people of color go missing or are murdered and things like that. So I mean, there's that part of it too.
But it's a double edged sword because one vein you can say that, but in the second vein, the issue has always been that black women steal from the trans and gay community their the terminologies and colloquialisms and use it on reality TV. So
Yes,
it's a double edged
yeah,
sword. So you can't.
that's true, but
It's a double edged
also
sword.
it is, but also I feel like first off, though, I'm gonna say this, okay, and this is nothing against anybody that is my friend that is not black, but I'm gonna say this first. If you're black, I'm rooting for you first most of the time, and if that's between black people, that's between black people. But we're talking
Yep.
about outside of that
Yep.
black space, whether
But
you're
I'm saying,
gay, straight, or whatever.
but I'm saying that it's, you can't say that side and not say the other side because that's been a problem, been an issue that black women are taking things from the gay culture and using it on reality shows and benefiting off of it and profiting off of it.
And I
So both
agree,
sides do it.
and I agree with you on that, but I'm saying outside of the black community entirely, so queer or not, right? So like if black women, if there's a space where black women are taking from the Black queer community and using those terms on reality TV, that's an issue in and of itself.
Yeah.
In the Black community, that's not for people outside of that community to. I mean, they can comment on it, but it's not their issue. That's our issue in our community to
Well, it's
fix.
not Black community. It's an issue in the LGBTQYZ community. So not just Black.
QYZ.
It's an issue in that community as well. It's an issue in both communities.
No, but
Right, but
I think
I
this is more about the queer community. How within the queer community there is this divide. There are these labels that are black and white. There is queer people that, you know, queerness. I think the body of queerness is white, but the spirit and the mind of it is black and brown people.
Not the body. Oh, y'all giving white is too much. Now that the body of
No,
queerness.
no, but that's the reality.
Oh my
There is.
gosh.
We got to
but
remember.
I agree with that. I
I
agree
got
with
to
that.
remember. We got to remember when we were fighting for civil rights. White gay men didn't want black queer people in their clubs as well.
Mm-hmm.
White queer men also discriminated against LGBT people that were not white.
That's a fact.
So when they were creating their cultures and their clubs and their traditions, they did not include us or have us in mind. Even though the reason we have a gay rights today in civil rights is because two trans women of color decided to say today is not the day. So that's the reality. Everything, unfortunately, everything in this country is under the umbrella of sexism and racism. So because it's very difficult for me sometimes to identify with anyone, with a queer person that is not black or brown.
Mhm.
Oh Lord.
But that's it. But that's all of our experiences are different. Like I can like the same way that Theo finds it hard to identify with queer people that are not black and brown. Some of my best like friends, with the exception of a couple of two men, um, are white gay men.
I'm sorry to hear.
And obviously my husband is my husband.
I'm sorry to hear, Isaiah.
Oh
Hello.
Lord, y'all better just leave. Okay,
I'm
No,
joking.
but
I'm
bingo,
joking.
but
We
bingo,
love
like
Sean.
bingo,
but
bingo.
I can't. But some of my very best friends are now in the respect though of being able to still have very open conversations and with the understanding that we're gonna have to like we can have brave conversations like that and still kiki and have a good time and have fun,
Yeah.
but with the understanding that okay, we can talk about our experiences in different ways, right? But that's just my experience. And that's just sometimes your experience has to do with proximity, right? So sometimes it really just has to do with proximity and exposure. So I didn't I didn't have exposure to men queer men of color for a long time, other than my best man. I still call him my best man even though my wedding was 2 years ago, but like but like like I didn't have that, and so I had to kind of go, okay, well, and build this experience, this black queer experience almost alone for a while, because to your point, Theo, um there were some things where I was like, well, I don't identify with this, or this is not this. Okay, well, you're going through this, but or somebody is saying this to you on a dating site, but they're not saying that to me. Or
Exactly.
how come they receive you differently than they receive me? And I didn't understand that. And sometimes it's not just like, okay, you're not vibing with each other. Sometimes people will be very specific
You're
about the fact
black.
that you're black, because I'm speaking to that experience because I've had that said to me directly on more than one occasion.
You're black. Poo poo poo.
You're black. or sorry, not into black men, or no, no, and other disparaging things that weren't directed at me, that were directed at, like, in their profile, what that they would say, oh well, no this, no that, no. And listen, you do
But it's
you,
their
you
preference. It's their
right,
preference.
right, preference is fine. Being discriminatory and
It's totally
racist
different.
is not.
But
Jasper,
So there's
but it's their preference. How can you
yeah, but
make somebody's
preference should
preference
not be racial.
problematic?
Preference, okay, preference is body type, okay?
In color, and yes, and
It's
yes,
no, I well,
yes.
I disagree with that, and I that's
So
definitely not.
you're not supposed to preference what type of what person color or whatever. You're not supposed to preference this. You're supposed to just make it seem like you open to everything, and then when you meet somebody,
no,
Listen,
no,
I'm not
that come
saying
preference,
on now, like
listen, I'm not saying
it's
preference.
crazy.
Let
I'm
me say
not saying
something.
somebody is supposed to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna pretend I'm into. That's fine,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
ridiculous.
that, it's a little like no one's
Preference
saying.
is more like I like someone who's kind. I like someone who likes long walks on the beach. Hint, hint, Jasper,
That's right. He
your
did
long
say that.
walks on the beach.
Somebody's light skinned
Yeah,
with hazel
those are
eyes,
when you go into
preferences.
that realm, especially when you're a person, when you're a white person.
Mhm.
There is a different tone when you say those things.
It is.
Oh wow.
It is. In gay culture and the gay community, there is a divide between the black gays and the white gays.
And I'm surprised, Jasper, that you don't have that opinion, like at least a
Yeah,
semblance of that
No, because I
opinion.
feel no, because I feel like everybody's allowed to have a preference. Just because somebody says that they don't date black men or they don't date black women or they black
that's
anybody black,
racist.
it's not racist. It's their
But
preference.
it is
No, it's
because
not. It's
the
crazy.
basis of our entire civilization is racist inherently. That's
But
why
like, but
it's racist.
okay, but I'm backing on what you said to me earlier that you don't like. You said I don't know these people on reality TV, so I can't say they're racist or not. You don't know these people who you look at. You don't know if they are racist or not.
But if
It's their
somebody tells you
preference.
in your face, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So if somebody tells you straight
Oh,
up, I
now
don't like
okay.
black people, like, or I don't date black people.
I
I
don't
mean,
date.
come on,
That's
that's
different.
not
I
like
saying I
being.
don't date,
But that's not like being on reality TV and
but
say
it's the
and
same
making a
thing
comment
because
about something, and then someone saying that's racist because you said it to a person of color. That's not the same.
but that's the same thing because you're looking at their profile and them saying on their profile I don't date black men. They're racist.
But what is about that? That's not racist. That's not
That's not racist.
preferential.
That is
It's
What do you
not.
call that,
preferential.
Isaiah, Jasper?
That's preferential. That's a preference.
That
Oh,
should
Because
be.
everybody, because we all like certain types of people. So if they have a preference of people that want to date a black person because they may have had a bad experience with someone of a black person, they may have had
But
a bad
that's a different
experience.
but that's a different
So you,
circumstance.
and,
yeah.
but you don't know that, so you can't judge off someone's preference and say they're racist because people
Well,
go through stuff in life.
when they make a
So,
generalization like
but
that, yes, I
but
can
you
judge
don't
them.
know.
And just like
You
that's their
can,
preference, that's like their preference to say they don't like, but it's my preference to judge that they said that.
but you judge,
Amen. Well,
but
you
it's
know what? I
not. You
think
can't
that's how
judge
they do
that.
it
I'm
in.
going to. So
But yeah,
That's
you
how they.
can, but it looks crazy to judge a preference.
okay, but okay, let's be honest though. We make judgments about people all the time.
Oh
That's just
yeah.
it is. We not.
So it's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like hypocritical to say you judge someone for having a preference, but we all have our own judgmental ways.
Yeah, but I'm not judging somebody based on their
So,
race either.
but they're not judging someone on their right. It's a preference.
Race is
A
different from
preference.
passing judgment about other things. I'm
It's a
sorry. That's
it's a
my belief. That's how I
but
feel.
what I believe is a preference is what they like and
And
they
that's
choose to
fine.
like and they eat. So it's not racial. Like that's a reach. Like that's what I'm talking
I
about.
don't think
Race is
that's it.
used.
I think that I don't think
This
that's
is
a
what I'm
reach.
talking. It's a prime example of what I'm saying when I say race. Race is racial. Race is used. It's used for anything. Like everything's not racial. That's just a prime example
But how,
of
as a
that.
black man, can or black men even, can we sit here and say and make that comment that something isn't racial when I'm sure all three of us have experienced varying degrees of racism?
Amen.
That's what I'm asking
Mm,
you, I guess.
but still, I have my own, maybe my own experience to a certain degree of racism. I'm not gonna sit there and say someone's preference is racist because I have my own preference and I'm not racist. So I can't judge someone for having a
But you're
preference.
not. But you're not inherently racist, and you couldn't
Uh,
be.
how? But there may not be racist either. You don't know that. You judging
But
all
the
and
There
oh
is, you know what it is? There is a thin line between preference and prejudice.
yeah, and y'all crossing the
that's
line
a
with
good one.
the
No. And
prejudice.
let me
Yes,
Stop,
finish.
Jasper.
yes,
The fact
yes.
is, we cannot force people to be attracted to people simply in the name of equality.
That's true.
Oh
I agree with that.
Lord.
I no, that's the truth. That's he's
But that's what
making your point.
I'm
That's
agreeing with
true.
you, Jasper.
Yeah,
What?
he's
Oh God,
making your
what?
point. That's true.
Okay.
We simply can be attracted to people simply for the name of equality. It is what it is.
That's true.
There you go. There you go.
He
Yeah,
You
we
know.
makes it.
can't
Yeah, he was making
we
your
can
point. That's
control
true.
the preference that what makes one person want to be in a relationship with another person. But again, there is a very thin line between preference and prejudice. And
And this is
people,
preference.
yeah, no, and a lot of people, when they think that that they're manifesting preference, are
Mhm.
sometimes practicing prejudice without even knowing.
Oh Lord. I see. Oh
That's
my
the truth, and
God.
that's also. But
Oh
wait, but
now
Jasper, that's also the it. Okay, these two dueling ideas can have truth to them. Absolutely, they don't have to be absolute truth for every situation,
Yeah,
but they can be true each in their own ways. I agree with you that you can't make someone be attracted to someone else in the name of equality. And put it that when Theo put it that way, I see your point a little bit more. So I hear that. However, there is a thin line between preference and prejudice, and that's a fact. There's a thin line
yeah,
between it depending on who you
a
are.
very thin line, but this
yeah.
would be on the line of preference.
And when Isaiah said right now,
Yes,
being more attracted to some races than more than others does not make you racist. But
true.
putting down another race and acting like they are less than,
Right.
that does make you racist.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the preference does not make you racist.
No. But when you are putting it down to get, ugh, I don't date black guys. That is the racist part.
Okay, that is, but preference is not.
The
That
same way,
see
ugh,
that you
the
agree.
same way
That's
they get, ugh,
true.
I don't date feminine guys. That is the
Mhm.
prejudice part. They
Right.
get, okay, ugh, I don't like trans.
Also
That
because
is the
that's
prejudice part.
also because
But preference.
saying I don't date feminine men also brings in a little bit of misogyny that
Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
it's true. That's true. That's
But
true.
but my thing is like on the like when on the dating profiles people have no
Mhm.
fats, no films,
no
no
black, no
cis,
femmes. Yes,
yeah, no fat,
Yes.
no not saying no fats, no films, no Asian,
Yes.
all that stuff. That
That.
doesn't mean they're racist. That's their preference. Because they're asking you
because
your
they're
preference.
acting like they are less than.
No, they're
Right.
not. They're giving
You
their
are not you
preference.
no, that means you are not
They're giving
deserving.
their
Which
preference.
men that think like that, I would not want to date someone
But they
that thinks
giving their
that way
preference.
anyway.
But the app asks you to give your preference. Whether they're not supposed to say anything, like this is
Well,
it's their preference.
let's be clear across the
Yes, they ask you
board.
your preference.
Hold on, let's be clear across the
Yes,
board. You can put your preferences in a
everywhere.
respectful manner and not say something that makes me want to get make sure you get slapped either. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm just saying
But
that's
because you
just
may feel
period.
you may receive it that way.
It's
It's
not
not
a
how they went
receiving
it.
it
It is
anyway.
how they
It's
receiving it.
just what it
Yes, it
is.
is. If it makes you angry, it's because you receive it. You received it in a
It's
way
not always
that
okay.
triggered
Wait a
you.
minute. So you're
Yes.
telling me if more than one person receives it in a certain way, then you're just angry and that's it. That's how you feel.
No, you receiving it,
Okay.
and you receiving it in a negative way, because you don't like the way it was written. So you're
Jasper, you full
receiving
of
it.
shit.
No, I'm not.
That's not.
I'm being honest.
I feel, but the
My
thing
perspective
is I
matters.
think you're being honest, but I also think I think you're being honest, but I think you're watering it down. Like
No, I'm
it's just
Yeah,
not.
that simple.
there's
Like
a
I'm gonna
it's
water it
thin line
down.
but
between
you're watering
prejudice
it
and
down like it's
Cause
just
preference.
y'all making it like this like
because
making
there's
it
a side.
hardcore, like it's just racist thing. It's
But no,
not.
it's because there are layers to certain things. There's a psychology to certain things that are not just okay. Well, it is as it appears. That's what I'm saying. It's not always just the way it looks because you read it that way. You're just judging it on the cover instead of going what's under the surface.
That's why it's
Which
not good to judge a book by its cover, because you know actually know what's really going on and why they have a preference for certain things, then I mean
I
you have
also
to
think you're. I
know.
also think you're
So
being contrarian just to be
Yeah,
contrarian.
no, I'm
I
not.
judge
No, I'm
every
not.
book
It's
by
my
its cover.
feeling.
I
But
judge every
that's
book
my
by its
opinion.
cover.
But that's my opinion. I feel
Okay,
I just feel that way. I feel like
I
everything is
hear you.
not racist. Everything is not people trying to just be evil. Like everything's not evil, and it's like everything is being made to be evil. Like
Right.
oh,
And
they don't.
actually, you make
Jasper,
a
your
good. You do
opinion
make. Oh, go ahead.
does
Go ahead.
not matter.
My perspective
What?
does matter. My perspective does
Did he
matter.
just say?
My perspective matters,
Now listen.
and
Even though we are engaging in a debate, I do think all of our opinions matter.
I
all of them matter.
all of our opinions matter except for Jasper.
No, we don't let the viewers.
Wow.
We don't let the viewers decide.
But no.
Jasper,
But I.
I don't want to hear you one more time. Mute his mic, Isaiah.
Oh, stop.
No control over
Never mute.
here.
Never mute. No,
No mute over
not
here.
never. Not
Can you
never.
can you imagine?
But I can't. But no. But so Jasper made a really good point with your thought process when you said everything is not evil, and I think that has to do with our cores,
Yeah,
right? And the way you view the world. So for me, it's not that I think everything's evil. It's just that I've used certain things as I've aged. So I used to be like, not that I'm not still optimistic, but I used to be like eternal optimist about everything. And so now I'm a little bit more realist and a little bit more, okay, everybody's intentions are not good because
yeah,
I've seen a little too much.
yeah. You know, he's here. I am from New York.
That's
Okay,
the yes.
And that's
I'm from New
bad.
York
We're
But
New
City.
that's
York.
bad. That's
I
We're
not
am
from
a
good.
upstate New York, but we still New
pessimist.
York. It's
I
just
am a pessimist.
But it's not always good. That's not
If
always
you
good.
if you tell me good morning, if I'm walking down the street and you tell me good morning, I'm like red flag, red flag, red
what?
flag.
Yeah, what you say in the
See,
morning?
see,
You like what you say in
see.
the morning for? You never do.
And I think that's the beautiful thing. We see the world, we've experienced the world in a different way.
That's
I
true.
live in New York City where if I'm in an apartment, I could be in an apartment for 35 years and I don't know a damn thing about the neighbor next to me.
Yeah,
In comparison to where you might be, Jasper, you might be there for 35 years and you know the neighbor's great grandmother, the grandmother, the grandchildren, because I think the culture is a little different. So when it comes to the labeling and the gay culture, I think it might be just a little different as well too, in how you experience dating
true.
and these preferences and these prejudices.
That's true.
I
No,
think that's
I
all.
think it's universal. I think it's all the same. I think it's no difference where from the
No, the
south or north.
city
I think
Saying
locale. I think
it's
locale based
it's all
sometimes is
universal.
different because
locale is
even
different too.
It's all universal. All the same.
Nah,
Yes,
ah
New York or the south. It's all the same.
oh
It's all that.
no
Yes,
because my
yes.
listen my parents live well my mom lives in the South now or she has a home in the South and then my father does as well. And I lived in Virginia for a long period of time. And I will tell you directly that there is a difference in the way people communicate. There's a difference in the energy and the kindness level. I always say this. Whenever I go down south, people are nice on the outside and not always super nice on the inside. New Yorkers or people in the north, we're a little hard on the outside, but we have hearts of gold. So that's just my opinion.
So New Yorkers are like bitches, and you are bitches in person. You know this. You know they're probably gonna be a bitch to you, but in the inside they're nice. That's what you're saying.
Basically.
you know
Listen,
what?
I'm not like basically. I mean, without putting, like if that's what yeah. Basically, you put it in the best way. It's like we might be bitchy to you, but I'll still be like I might be like, "Hi, where are you from?" But then it's just like, "Yeah, you can have a glass of water here."
And I don't think I want that glass of water because I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
But it's just the way. It's just the
Maybe a
way.
glass of toilet water.
Oh, not toilet
That's what
water.
I'm saying. Of spit, I'm good. Yeah, I'm
Stop it.
good.
A nice room temperature bottled water or chilled if you'd like.
No, but
No,
what I
But no,
like,
like
this
it's
is
just
why I'm
okay.
sorry. This
No,
is
go
why I
ahead.
like these conversations because, again, we're three different kind of men who
Mhm.
are experiencing and seeing things differently. It is what it is, and
I
that's a
agree.
good conversation. The audience member, not all of them are going to see the things the way that we do.
That's true.
And some people experience racism and prejudice and labels
Mhm.
differently, and that's why I like what you said also, Jasper.
Mhm.
Sometimes labels are good. They're meant to
True.
organize things, and they exist for a purpose.
Mhm. I had a question actually, and I'm gonna like answer it because I think because of my opinions about preferences and prejudice. Um, um, I'm gonna so my personal and not just based on I think a lot of people would assume because I the love of my life is white that my preference just dating all the way up until that point was I just dated white. Right? I mean, but think about that. That would probably be the assumption that
Oh
this
yeah.
this man has only dated white men, right?
Amen.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
false. And that
Caucasian
assumption
fetish.
Oh
is
my God.
false. And that assumption is false. So my personal feeling is if you are attractive, whatever color you are, I went on a date with you. So so
Oh shit.
that's the way I felt. I did not have a specific I dated men of all colors because
Come on,
I found
Rainbow.
beauty absolutely because I found beauty and attraction in all colors for me. So I think that's another reason why my mindset is also set up that way because I feel like there's beauty everywhere. Like it doesn't I don't have like a
Oh.
specific and not to sound like super Pollyanna about it, like, but like I generally just would be like, okay, well, and maybe that's my Sagittarius mess, but like I just didn't, I'd be like, okay, well, oh,
Well,
well, they're attractive. And
me on the other end, my
Mhm.
bougie ass, I have a list of do's and don'ts.
Oh
I,
Lord.
here goes my preferences slash, and but I am cognizant enough to understand that sometimes my preferences are some prejudice.
I agree, and same with mine.
For
Yeah,
your
Some
experience, but
some of
yeah,
mine.
within yourself, yes,
yeah,
yes.
I am. I'm
Yeah.
extremely cognizant. I know that
Yeah.
there's some lanes, and there's some races, and there's some things that I will not cross over, and I will not try, and
White, yeah,
and
yeah,
not be
white,
with,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
not be
no.
with. and,
Hmm.
and I understand that that is my prejudice, and I'm honest about that.
Right.
I don't try to hide from it. Can I do better? Yes. Should I do better? Yes.
Hmm.
But am I going to fall in love with it? Hell no.
And that's the thing is like I I think another reason I'm like harsh about it a little bit too is because I am able to go, okay, oh wait, that's not cool about myself. And as long as I can do that, then I can speak freely. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't have like a weight on me because I can go, okay, no, that wasn't cool. Like, or okay, maybe I need to adjust that a little bit.
Yeah. And
Mm.
also, I live in New York, so I'm exposed to an Asian queer person, a
Mhm.
black queer person, white queer person. For me to engage in being with a white person, you really have to get it. And
Mhm.
if you don't,
No, they
Mhm.
would. They would
Mhm.
probably kill themselves after being with you for about a month.
and if
You'll
you
make
don't
yourself.
get
Stop
it,
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
and if you
Listen, my
don't get
husband
it,
can handle me.
if you don't, but if
Uh.
you don't get it, goodbye. Like people of color, whether you're black, brown, Asian, yellow, whatever, there is a commonality that we have. But I will date. I will not date. What was it? I will date. Some people say I will date whoever will date me. I will not date anyone who will date me.
I agree with
Mm.
that. I agree with
But
that.
see, that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. That's what I'm saying. So you have you really do. But you inherently have a preference in
I
a
have a
way.
preference a
So
mile and more long.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
hell
what I'm
yeah.
saying. So you can't judge someone having a preference on a color or whatever they want because you have
Yes,
preferences there.
yes, I can, especially if they're
Yeah.
white.
No, you can't because no, you can't because no,
Wow.
you can't because it's hypocritical. That's
I don't
hypocritical.
think
So you
it's
can't.
hypocritical.
It is
I
hypocritical.
don't.
It's very hypocritical. You can't
I
judge
don't.
someone because they're white
All
and have
right,
a
Yes, I
preference,
Jasper,
can.
your
but because
turn.
you're black and you can have a preference, it's
What's your
okay.
Yes, I can.
preference?
I judge white
Hypocritical.
people all the
But
time.
it's hypocritical. We have the same problem with them doing it to us, and we do it to them. So where's the even ground?
What's your preference,
Yeah, what's your
Jasper?
preference?
I have a strong preference. I have a sense of this. I don't like. I don't like. I don't. Because I really don't date anybody. I'm not really into dark. I don't like dark skin. I like lighter. I like a lighter skin. That's me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't date dark. They have to
Oh,
be
come on,
tall,
Apollo.
tall. You know, tall. You can't be shorter than me. You gotta be tall. My
Mm-hmm.
height or a little bit taller,
Mm-hmm.
and and muscular. You can't be fat. Like this is not gonna work. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I need to be physically attracted to you as well, not just
Right.
emotionally or mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have preferences, I have a list of
Mm-hmm.
things. So yeah,
From
so
here to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Actually, wait. You know what? I have a great idea. Um. So okay, everyone pick two, whether it's a public figure or celebrity that you find attractive, and
Oh,
I feel like it will give a really good to listeners. It'll give a really good idea of what your type looks like, I
oh
guess.
God. Do
Cause
you
I need.
know Insanity, the workout video Insanity?
Oh my god, I know exactly who you're talking about, and yes.
Sean T.
Yes.
Oh my. Oh God.
Jasper,
Jasper.
Oh.
Isaiah, put Jasper on mute.
Oh, stop it.
Cause
No.
that's like the if I'm gonna label him, he's like the most feminine man that does workouts.
Really?
Yes,
I can think off the top of my
like
head
he
of a more
literally
effeminate man.
no, he's feminine and he matches his partner. His partner is equally feminine. So that's what I'm saying. But they work together. They connect.
I
Both by his
love
partner.
I love Sean
Love
T.
Sean
No,
T. Me
he's
too.
not.
That
No, he's no.
I can make him be a little darker, but
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, we will live in the sun, so he can be a
And he's
darker. But
old,
that's who I
and
like.
he's old, and he's old. He's aged horribly. So
I
What's
think
your
he
preference,
aged
Isaiah?
wonderfully.
no, he
All
is not.
right.
And they
Go
say black
off.
don't crack.
What's
And they always say black don't crack, but black does crack. I've seen a lot of black does
Oh
crack over the
no, I'm
years.
gonna have to
Yeah,
not a one
so
whoa, whoa,
black
whoa, whoa,
crack.
whoa!
Nope.
Why are we
yeah,
sitting here
Uh-uh.
attacking the love of my life?
I know.
I'm not attacking. I'm just saying.
Who the fuck do you both think
Listen,
you are?
I am rooting for all black skin and not a
No,
bit of it crack. No.
no.
Not today, not
What's your
tomorrow,
Even
not
preference,
never.
Isaiah?
Oh God. All
A
right. So I
celebrity.
have a long list.
come on, Liz. Come on, Liz. Number three.
I have a long list.
And
Okay.
what
So
about a celebrity?
okay. I don't know why the first person I can't even. So I'm just thinking of Jesse L. Williams right now.
Who's Jesse
Who?
L. Williams?
Jesse L. Williams plays Jackson Avery on Grey's Anatomy.
Him. Oh
How you not gonna
shit.
know who he is? That you love that show and watched it for 23 years.
No, no, no,
Come on,
no.
Stop.
man.
Now
I
I don't know
love
his
him.
name. I don't
I
know his real
love him.
name.
If you look at Jasper, look him up. He
I know
is.
who he is.
Oh, you know who it is? Yeah, yeah. He's. I just love him. I just and his eyes um
Interesting.
and then I think I have one more.
Greedy ass.
I'm sorry. Oh well, actually, okay. And then there's so I love me some Morris Chestnut, but okay.
Of course. Oh, come on,
And
please.
Idris Elba. And then
Oh my gosh.
okay, and then I also love Orlando Bloom. Okay, so I have quite a spectrum.
Yeah, you have a diverse, very
Yeah, he's
diverse
diverse.
spectrum.
What about you? I know you like
Um,
Apollo.
Yes, which I agree with.
Martell from Love and Marriage Hunts. We got to watch the show. Like the
From where?
combination. Love and Marriage Hunts be a Carlos King produces the show
Oh.
and he's starring the show. I like them two together, the combination, because I like the swag, street smarts, but also the intelligent part of it, the intelligence. Because I need somebody that they could tag me, but I can have intellectual conversation with, and they have sense of humor and laugh. Like I don't need someone that won't laugh. Like
Yeah.
if it's serious all the time. Like I need an anti Theo. So I need
Oh
to.
no!
The
Wow, not
nerve
an
of it.
anti. Wow.
I
He said anti.
Anti. So
You're gonna lose
yeah.
your voice for 2 months.
Wow.
You know who I would date in a minute?
Who?
There's this guy. His name is Theo Fox. Have you heard of him?
Oh,
You know
Des. Oh my
what?
god.
Oh, you know what?
My preference. That's my preference. 101%.
I can't.
I
I got you
cannot.
too.
I
Oh, I have one.
cannot.
I have one more. Brock O'Hearn. He has really long hair.
Who the hell is
Who's
that?
that? Who's that?
Look him up.
Oh Lord.
Send us a picture.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. That's my little.
I have a list. I used to have I used to like Tom Cruise.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Theo
Oh,
and Tom Cruise?
he was good because I fell in love with him in Interview with a Vampire.
really?
Yeah, him and Brad Pitt. They were
Okay,
lovers.
Brad Pitt, I can get on board with. Tom
Brad Pitt
Cruise,
then
I don't know what it was. I don't know why. I know everyone used to go like nuts over him, but I
because he
never saw it
because he was nuts.
because he was nuts. Yeah, 'cause he's jumping on couches on Oprah's
Theo,
Oh,
couch.
I
yeah.
like a little crazy. A little crazy is
Oh
on my
my
list of
god.
dudes.
He does. He's in the Scientology, so you have to probably have to kind of learn some
Okay.
of his religion and kind of convert a little bit. He gonna want you to kind of convert. So
Listen,
yeah,
you don't
probably
want
word.
you don't want to get put through what Katie Holmes had to go through now.
No,
Yes,
he has
or
to
Leah
convert over
Remini,
this way.
or Leah Remini. So no, you don't want to go to that.
Oh Lord.
um,
Well, it was fun, people, having
It
this
it was
was.
conversation.
fun. I really enjoyed this chat, guys. I really
Even
like. I
even though
really
Jasper was a dick, but
no. I really
Yeah, a
liked
big
his.
one too.
I can't. I'm dead. Jasper.
Yes.
No, honestly, I love that. Like, I really liked, even though I don't agree with his opinion, I like that I feel like it comes from a really positive place. Like, I feel like it comes from like the idea of, you know, let's just let people be who they are, which
yeah,
is really idealistic, but I'm just not
I'm not there
there
yet.
in
I'm
that
from New York. I'm not there yet,
space
Jasper.
But
yet.
y'all need to get on the train. Y'all done missed the train twice. Like the train
Oh,
coming
shut
again.
up,
I'm gonna need
not
y'all to,
twice.
cause
He
yes,
said hop on the train, leaves at 10.
yes, because we new, just a new, we in a whole new century, a whole new time. So I'm gonna try to get on board
Oh my
on the
god.
bus.
We'll get there.
Okay, we'll get
Yes, yes.
We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for
Yes.
All
listening.
Thanks
right,
for listening,
all
guys.
right.
Later.
Later.